Thank you. Jai Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Balava Girivanadadi. Govardhan, we need some volume. Follow me. Gopijana Balava Girivanadadi. Jasodanandana Bhajajana Ranjana Jasodanandana Bhajajana Ranjana Jamunitira Jamuna Tira Munachari Jayarado Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Balava Girivanadadi Jasodanandana Bhajajana Ranjana Chamunitira Vanatari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Boom. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Bo Krishna Hare Krishna Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bo. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Boom. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari, Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari, Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Pri Vijakacharya Asatid Shri Shriman, His Divine Grace Abhay Children, Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki, ISKCON BBT Founder Acharya Jagaguru Srila Prabhupada Ki, Ananta Kota Vaishya Brinda Ki, Namchar Shri Haridas Thakur Ki, Prem Shri Gaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Dvaita Gadadhar Shiva Sari Gaur Bhakta Brinda Ki, Shri Shri Radhakrishna Go Gopinath Shamakunda Radhakunda Giri Govardhan Ki, Vrindavan Dham Ki, Mathura Dham Ki, Dwarka Dham Ki, Navadip Dham Ki, Jagannath Puri Dham Ki, Jamuna Mai Ki, Ganga Mai Ki, Tulsi Maharani Ki, Bhakti Devi Ki, Sambheda Bhakti Vinda Ki, Srila Prabhupada Ki, Shri Srila Giridhari Ki, Shri Krishna Sankirtana Jaga Ki, Gopremanande. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the divine lotus feet of Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Krishna Sadamo Bhagate Dhammaganadi Bisaha Kalaunasa Dashamesha Purana Konadodita Narayana Namaskritcham Naram Chaivam Narotama Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jaya Mutirayat Before beginning our study of the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, we should first offer respects to the personality of Godhead, Narayan, the Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, the goddess of living Mother Saraswati, the author Srila Vyasadeva, and my spiritual master Srila Prabhupada. What have I forgotten? The Bhagavatam is the, what is it? Krishna Swadamo?
Yeah.
Just give me the first word. The Bhagavatam is as brilliant as the sun. It is arisen just after the departure of Lord Krishna to his own abode, accompanied with knowledge, religion, etc. Persons who have lost their vision due to the dense darkness of the age of Kali should get light out of this Purana. Thank you, Prabhu. So we are on, assuming there's harmony in the universe, we're on the 7th canto, 3rd chapter, text 36. Correct? Okay. Does anyone know, other than Dravida Prabhu, where we are in the Bhagavatam? What's happening? Anybody know? Hiranyakasipu, exactly. And who is Hiranyakasipu? Yeah. He's a first-class materialist. And who is he speaking to? He's speaking right now, and who is he speaking to? You got two. Let's see if you get three. He's speaking to Lord Brahma. And what is he asking for? Immortality. Immortality. Very good. Okay, so that's the setting of the scene. Okay. Nanta Bahir Diva Naktam Anyasmad Api Chayudahi Na Bhumao Nambare Mrityu Na Narar Na Mrigar Api Nantar Bahir Diva Naktam Anyasmad Api Chayudahi Nabuma Nambare Mrityu Nanarana Mrigairapi Nanta Bahir Diva Naktam Anyasmad Api Chayudahi Nabuma Nambare Mrityu Nanarana Mrigairapi Nanta Bahir Diva Naktam Anyasmad Api Chayudahi Nabuma Nambare Mrityu Nanarana Mrigairapi Nanta
Anyasmad Api Chayudahi Nabuma Nambare Mrityu Nanarana Mrigairapi Nantar Bahir Diva Naktam Anyasmad Api Chayudahi Nabuma Nambare Mrityu Nanarana Mrigairapi Nantar Bahir Diva Naktam Anyasmad Api Chayudahi Nabuma Nambare Mrityu Nanarana Mrigairapi Vaishnavis Nantar Bahir Diva Naktam Anyasmad Api Chayudahi
Nabumanambare mrityur. Nannarayanam agarapi. Na, not. Anta, inside the palace or home. Bahi, outside the home. Diva, during the daytime. Naktam, during the night. I wonder if this is the root of nocturnal, but that's another thing. Anyasmat, from anyone other than Lord Brahma. Api, even. Cha, also. Ayudahi, by any weapon used within this material world. Na, not. Bhumao, on the ground. Na, not. Ambare, in the sky. Mrityu, mrityu, death. Na, not. Naraihi, by any men. Na, not. Mrigayi, by any animal. Api, also. So this is Hiranyakasipu to Lord Brahma. Grant me that I not die with any residence or outside any residence, during the daytime or at night, nor on the ground or in the sky. Grant me that my death not be brought by any being other than those created by you, nor by any weapon, nor by any human being or animal. Also, you say, grant me that I not die within any residence or outside any residence, during the daytime or at night, nor on the ground or in the sky. Grant me that my death not be brought by any being other than those created by you, nor by any weapon, nor by any human being or animal. Purport. I one time had to read through our insurance policy on the temple building, and when you get to the exceptions and conditions, it's about 14 pages. We won't pay you if there's a flood, if there's a fire, if there's a nuclear weapon, if there's, I mean, it goes on and on and on and on and on and on. And like, so what? When will you give us a penny, you know? So it's sort of the same mentality, but we'll get into that in a minute. Hiranyakasipu was very much afraid of Vishnu becoming an animal to kill him, because his brother had been killed by Vishnu when the Lord took the shape of a boar. Therefore, he was very careful to guard against any kind of animals. But even without taking the shape of an animal, Vishnu could kill him by hurling his Sudarshan chakra, which can go anywhere without the Lord's physical presence. Therefore, Hiranyakasipu was careful to guard against any kind of weapons. He guarded against any kind of time, space, countries, because he was afraid of being killed by someone else in another land. There are many other planets, higher and lower, and therefore he prayed for the benediction of not being killed by any residents of any of these planets. There were three original deities, Brahma, Vishnu, and Maheshwara. Hiranyakasipu knew that Brahma would not kill him, but he also wanted to not be killed by Lord Vishnu or Lord Shiva. Consequently, he prayed for such a benediction. Thus, Hiranyakasipu thought himself securely protected from any kind of death caused by any living entity within the universe. He also carefully guarded against natural death, which might take place within his house or outside of the house. Om Gena Temerantasya Gena Gena Salakaya Jagshu Militan Gena Tazare Shi Gurave Namaha. Just a few ancillary or additional points, then we'll get to the main theme. You can see how, you can take a good lesson even from a fool. So the devotees in the UK, they were getting harassed by doing, they're harassed on the streets. No, they were harassed. They had covered malls because of the weather. And the police said, you can't be inside. So Mukunda Maharaj wrote to Prabhupada, what can we do? We can't do Harinam, we can't do book distribution in these covered malls. Prabhupada said, so do it outside. They did it outside, then the police complained, you can't be outside. So Mukunda Maharaj wrote, what do? We can't do inside, we can't do outside. Prabhupada said, do it on the doorstep. And when they come, you say, no, no, sir. They say, you can't be inside. No, 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 we're outside. And then when they come and say, you can't be outside. No, no, we're inside. So Prabhupada took this idea. There's also, I mean, I experienced this. This is not bhakti. This is not devotion, although he appears to be very sweetly speaking. Oh, in the beginning, we got all the perfunctory prayers, the preparatory prayers. But then he got down to his real business, what I actually want. And I know, especially in India, it happens to me, it happens to anyone in saffron cloth from the West. I give a class, oh Maharaj, my heart was moved. Finally the door of Mahaprabhu's teaching says, open to me. And then they go on and on and on. Where have you been all my life? And then what happens when they think they've softened me up? No, they don't ask for. They ask for a green card and a ticket to America. That's their real interest. And as I've mentioned before, there was my uncle. You can, well, let's just, is this too loud? Yeah, we can turn it down a little bit now. Someone's on the case, thanks. Sure. And I don't know if you ever met my Uncle Chuck, but Uncle Chuck, when he was getting started, I don't want to spend too much time on Uncle Chuck, but I'll give you one example of Uncle Chuck. His company made the torch. Now is it too low? Are we okay? No, all right. It's like Goldilocks, get it just right. Are we okay now? All right, let's go. So my Uncle Chuck, his company made the torch for the Olympics, that they run it from Greece all the way to, wherever it is, right? He got the contract, got paid, but the torches kept going out. So Uncle Chuck's, everything tended to go wrong. So he was always calling my father with a new idea and asking, hey, you want to be a partner? Want to loan me money? It got to the point that when Uncle Chuck would call, my mother would say, it's Uncle Chuck on the phone. My brother's on the phone. And he would say, how much does he want? He didn't want to, he said, how much does he want this time, So how did my father feel when Uncle Chuck called? Was he happy to hear him? Was he think, was Uncle Chuck sincerely calling? How are you? How's your family? Why was Uncle Chuck calling? Anybody know? He wanted something. So do you feel, so how do you think Krishna feels? How does God feel? He's always everyone's praying to him. Prabhupada says the shopkeeper at night goes home, puts his head on his pillow, and just before he goes to sleep, he thinks, oh, jeez, did I lock the back door to my shop? He says, oh, God, please, please, I hope I locked. Chill. Oh, I hope I locked the back door. Now, the thief, somehow or other, he's got a family, due to the vagaries and the viciousness of the hand of fate, he's a pauper's condition. So when he goes out at night, the thief goes out at night, what is he thinking? Oh, geez, I hope somebody left their back door open. So he's praying, oh God, please, have somebody leave their door open. And the shopkeepers are saying, oh, please, God, I hope I locked my door. Prabhupada said, in this way, Krishna is perplexed. It's contradictory prayers. So, but Krishna is unlimitedly compassionate, but are those prayers pleasing? So the same thing here, we're just seeing, the thing is, the bhakti is different Bhakti, there's religion, and then there's devotional service. One is transactional. Oh God, give us this day our daily bread. Give us this, give us that. I found out, what is it? 72 women, if you're virgins. And what do the women get? I said, well, what do the women get out of the deal? And it's a long story, but a devotee looked it up, and they don't get many husbands. They get a very, very good husband, which seems like kind of an unfair deal, but it's transactional. That's my point. So only the Vaishnavas are teaching pure devotional service. They're teaching love. Prabhupada calls it the Vrindavan mood. We're thinking, oh God, give us this day our daily bread. What was Mother Yasoda thinking in the Damodar Leela at Kartik time? Why was she concerned about Krishna stealing butter or disturbing her cooking in the milk? Why? They're all thinking, if I don't feed Krishna, Krishna will become sick, or Krishna will become weak, or they're not thinking about themselves, they're thinking about Krishna. So there's in the, what is it, the Navadvip Mahatmya, is Lord Nityananda taking Jiva Goswami through Mayapur, yeah? It's by Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur. And in that book, Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur says this, because what is unique about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings? It is not asking for something from Krishna. Krishna make me happy, Krishna make me whole, Krishna do this, Krishna do that. You know the word Prabhu means master? Prabhupada said Prabhu, when we say Prabhu, we address each other Prabhu, but Prabhupada said Prabhu doesn't mean, Prabhu come shine my shoes. That's not what it means. So Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that enriching Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Achinta Bheda Bheda Tattva, pure devotional service, Vrindavan mood, just like, streams come out of the Himalayas and they all pour into the Ganga, and the Ganga pours into the ocean. So the ocean is the concentration of all those tributaries combining into one whole. So from the four Vaishnava Sampradayas, Lakshmi Sampradaya, and the Lakshmi Sampradaya is Ramanujacharya, and then from the Shiva Sampradaya, we have the four Kumaras, or the Rudra Sampradaya. From the, did I say Ramanujacharya and the Lakshmi Sampradaya? Yeah. Then we've got, of course, Madhvacharya coming in our line, which is from the Lord Brahma. And who have I forgotten? We've got Shiva. Then I'll get it. We've got, thank you though. We've got Shiva, we've got Lakshmi, we've got Brahma, and we've got the four Kumaras. And their chief acharyas, at least within our time frame, are Madhvacharya, Ramanujacharya, Nimbarkacharya, and Vishnu Swami. So those are the four streams coming down into Mahaprabhu's mission, which is considered the Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Yes, when you go to Mayapur, which everyone should do at least once in their life, when you go there, you'll see the samadhi of Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, where his body is lying in eternal rest. And when you go there, it was designed by him. There's his samadhi, but on the four sides of his samadhi is a murti of Raman. Oh, that's right. You're right. Because I was saying that's not quite right. He installed the deities Gandharvika Giridhari, his first deities, and and next to them is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and on all four sides, holding it up, on the sides holding it, are murtis of the four acharyas. So the four acharyas, anything you can get from those four acharyas, you get the whole package from all four in Mahaprabhu's teachings. And what those elements are, so we can have a little idea of what we're getting as Gaudiya Vaishnavas. We get from Madhvacharya, from the Brahma Sampradaya, we get complete rejection and defeat of the Mayavad philosophers. Anyone know how he was always sitting? He was not a precursor of the hippie movement or Winston Churchill. What did it means the individual, the jiva soul, and the Supreme Lord. They're always two, even in independence. We don't merge. It's not the great find our home and om. But there's always the jiva, and then there's the Supreme Lord. And because if there's not two, if we all become one, I remember my father, he was talking to himself. I said, Dad, who are you talking to? He said, myself. I said, why? He said, I'm the only person who understands me. But, you know, if all you have is yourself, what's missing? What's the talking to yourself all the time, looking in the mirror, is that juicy, tasteful? There's no relationship. In a relationship, there's interaction, there's taste, there's experience. So to become one, who wants that? But when there's Krishna and the living entity, then there's a flavor. So I don't want to take time on each of these, because we have some other things. But complete rejection and defeat of the Mayavad impersonal philosophy from Madhvacharya, and service to the deity as an eternal spiritual personality. Not that the deity is a representative. So that's Krishna standing right there. So, and Prabhupada said you should always dress Radharani a little more beautiful than Krishna, because that way Krishna will never leave. And we see an example of that. So, from Ramanujacharya in the Lakshmi Sampradaya, the conception of devotional service unpolluted by karma and jnana, and service to the devotees. From Vishnu Swami, from the Shiva Sampradaya, the sentiment of exclusive dependence on Krishna, and the path of Raga Marga, or spontaneous devotional service. And last, from the Nimbarkacharya, the Kumara Sampradaya, the necessity of taking shelter of Srimati Radharani, and the highest esteem for the gopis' love of Krishna. So those 4 acharyas, 8 themes wound together become the presentation of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or pure Vaishnava Bhakti, Gaudiya Vaishnava Bhakti. Now, to the heart of the thing. Anyone know what Yudhisthira Maharaj, other than our senior Prabhus, he was asked by Yamaraj, yes? What is the most wonderful thing, most amazing thing in this world? Neela.
You see everybody dying around you and you think you're never going to die.
Everybody's dying, but we think an exception will be made for us. It'll never happen. It'll happen later. By the time I get there, they'll have some medical discovery and keep me going forever. It's Walt Disney, who's frozen somewhere. He's frozen, isn't he? It's just his head? Ooh. Imagine opening your fridge and that's what you've got. But because they're thinking, you know, when they figure out how to, by genetic engineering, to make me a new body. And there was a life extension professor at UCSD. Yep. And he said, eternal life is coming. You can just replace all the parts of the body, regrow them, replace them, take stem cells and put it all back together. Just like you go to the auto store and buy an alternator or whatever, you'll just get whatever you need. And as far as the brain, it's all circuitry. It's just a sophisticated computer. You just have to back it up. Make sure you got a backup, but just down, and then just upload it, make your new body, upload it into your consciousness, and you'll live forever. He said the problem in the future is going to be boredom, because you'll have done everything and you won't know what to do. You've done it, you had every. So the arrogance of that, we're seeing this in Hiranyakasipu. It's one of the immortality. Just like, well, I'll say it this way. Let me think here. We're thinking we can, I guess this is the main theme. Oh, look at that. We're thinking that we can game the system. Everybody's thinking that if I just jigger it the right way, I'll just, everybody else has failed around me. Or they didn't really make it, but I'm going to make. Who is it? Jarasandha, who fought with Krishna 17 times and was defeated. Sometimes had to walk back to his kingdom by himself because everybody was finished, all of his soldiers, 17 times. And he was still ready to try it again. This plan's going to work. Plan Z, A, B, C, and everything else blew up in my face. But this time it's going to work. So why? Why is to the existential, the core desire of the living entity in this material world? What is it? Prabhupada quotes it. I think it's from Paradise Lost. I would rather be a king in hell than a slave in heaven. Of course, they have no concept of what it means to be a servant of Krishna. It's not an oppressive state. It is such a sweet taste that even Krishna himself comes, he wants to see what is Radharani experiencing. What is that taste of surrendered love? It's so sweet that even he would rather be a devotee of Krishna than Krishna. So how does he experience that? He becomes Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So the idea that of being of course, everyone's a servant. Prabhupada points out that you may be a big rich man and you're taking your dog for a walk in Central Park and you stand there respectfully while your dog does his business. They even, I don't want to get too graphic, but they even pick it up. Yeah, you got to pick, and they tie it in a little bow and put it on their belt. And so everybody's a servant of somebody. But in this material world, everybody gets cheated. And we saw this a lot in Hawaii. We were just visiting there for a week. Not visiting, we're doing our GBC business. And don't get any big ideas. The weather's beautiful, fragrant flowers, mosquitoes, volcanoes, roaches this big, size of a date that fly. Krishna's got it wherever you are. But what is the reason? Is Krishna a masochist? The point is that this world is designed to bring us back home, back to Krishna. That's the best thing. The best thing we could possibly have, even Krishna wants it, is service to Krishna. It has the sweetest taste. We're looking for it. But what is the country western sign? Looking for love in all the wrong places. We're looking for it. And Krishna's trying to get us on the right track while maintaining our free will, because that's the essence of devotion, of bhakti. He's trying to get... So this material world is designed to bring us to the point of surrender. No. You're not going to be happy trying to be the controller. And everybody's trying to do it. Now, here we see the archetype materialist, Hiranyakasipu. And he thinks he's got it all figured out, and he's going to be crushed. What does the intelligent person conclude? That I'm gonna be the unique one who figures it out, how to live forever, or how to, We had a guy here, Bhakta, moved into the temple. I shaved him up. He had all kinds of scars on top of his head. Now, don't get me wrong. It wasn't the women are bad and men are good, or men are good, women are bad, whatever it is. It's not a gender issue. It happens both times, both sides. I shaved him up, and he had scars all over his head. I said, what happened to you? Playing rugby without a helmet? What happened? He said, well, this is where my first wife hit me with an iron. A cloth iron. He said, this is where my second wife hit me with my golf clubs. He said, this is where my third wife slammed my head in the car door. I don't even know how you do that, So, okay, he was here. We used to have a dinner program. Remember that Gunagrai Maharaj's nice dinner program? The guy was serving at the dinner program, hooked up with some girl at the dinner, and left the Krishna and got married for the 4th time in Las Vegas. I got a postcard from him. You would think, was it 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out? You think, whoa, I'm not doing that again. But the living entity, lifetime after lifetime and lifetime. So we should, even however you plan it, that's where it's going. You cannot conquer the material nature. Now, I wanted to say something about the marathon. That's what I was going to say. In Hawaii, we saw so many people holding hands. So it's not that just, okay, everything's miserable, it never works out. You can say that, maybe, Prabhupada said Chanakya Pandit speaks harshly about women, and Prabhupada said he had a bad marriage. So he had, he was a little bent unjustly, he was taking it out on women. But we saw in, Waikiki Beach, we were chanting there under a big banyan tree. And there were so many old couples holding hands. The sun was setting, they're holding hands. I think they were kind of leaning on each other to prop each other up. So even if you make it, even if you find your alleged soulmate, even if you win the lottery, some uncle you never knew kicks over and you get $1 million check. These days you need to have about a $15 million check, and even that's not enough. But how does that work out? I was living in Laguna Beach. I was young and healthy, believe it or not, and I thought, we're on a pretty good ride here. But I had something, in the back of my brain that was always and I'll tell you what it was. It's when I knew the devotees were on the right path. One of the devotees said to me, they were saying, oh, everybody suffers. I said, yeah, maybe you. He said, but one thing, seeing my natural arrogance, said, but one thing, nobody gets out of here alive. So even if you find your soulmate, even if you are living in Hawaii, and not in Honolulu, but on the North Shore, okay, with whatever else you need, your own helipad or what knocks on the door sooner or later? Death comes along and time to get out. You got to go. So human form of life, well, let's say it this way. No one can protect himself. No one can protect us. There's no formula. The only thing that can protect us is Krishna. This theme, this pastime, this, message from the Bhagavatam, Hiranyakasipu is so powerful that he moves an eyebrow and the whole universe is shifted. Even Brahma, the top demigod, comes down, what do you need, what do you want, how do I calm you down? So powerful. And who is the other side of the coin in this pastime with Hiranyakasipu? Hiranyakasipu was so powerful, and his adversary was a 5-year-old boy. A 5-year-old child, what can they do? They can't fight, they can't, Who came out victorious? Prahlad, so obviously. So the point is that nothing works except taking shelter of Krishna. This world is designed, it's created, it's the way, it's like a rat in the maze. There's only one way you can get out. In this material world, the only thing that's going to make us happy and the only way out of this cycle is to surrender to Krishna. So I wanted to say about the marathon that, because we were talking yesterday, why? If everything is set up, people are eventually, well, let's say it this way, because I did. why go out and distribute books? Why do it? I can stay here in the temple, get a nice Raj Bhog, got a comfortable place to sleep, don't have to worry about any rent. Why not just, hang out here? Why? Because it is an austerity. First off, you're putting your own, we all have our self-esteem, and you go out there. It's not that everybody, we hear the fantastic stories, and it's true. But it's not that, Govardhan, does everyone walk up to you and say, oh, thank you, I was just looking for this book? No. Vijamani. Do they come to you with, but it does happen sometimes. But it's not an easy thing to do, because a lot of times you get rejected. That's one reason through every spiritual tradition, monks go out begging. It's not just to fill their bellies, but it's the experience of being rejected. We have, Raghunath Das Goswami, when he was begging in Puri, and he was in front of the lion gate in the Jagannath temple, and he was, oh, this one will give something, oh, this one won't. Oh, he gave something last time, he'll give again. You get, but after a while, you just become inured to it. You become, whether they'll treat me nicely, whether they won't treat me, whether I'll get this result, whether I'll get that result, you become humbled. It's the reason you do it. So there's no question that it's a humbling experience. Growing is usually accompanied by pain. Like when you lift weights, not that I'm lifting weights, but when you lift weights, a muscle rips, and then it's healing. That's the ache you feel. But when it heals, it's stronger and bigger. That's the basic principle. So similarly, growth in spiritual life, tapasya, is accompanied by difficulty and some pain. So why should we go out there and put ourselves in pain, inconvenience? I want to take a nap, I want to eat, it's too hot, it's too cold, there's always something. Wind's blowing this way, wind should be blowing the other way. So what to do? So one of the reasons is to understand the condition of this world. Everybody in this world suffers. Everybody drops dead sooner or later. And frankly, the higher your ride, the more anxiety when you're dying. There's these big movie stars, and I want to be left alone because their beauty is gone. I forget her name. It'll come to me. The Blue Angel from Germany. Whatever. She was Marlene was considered the most beautiful woman in the world. As she was going on in her shows, she had them gradually increase, dimming the light. And she would stand her further back on the stage so they couldn't see what was happening, that she was aging. And then finally, I think she's the one who said, I just want to be left alone. Would go out when she went out with a big hat and dark glasses and a scarf, so you couldn't imagine that. And the men, it's the same thing. They got the bald head and the comb over, So to the degree that we're absorbed into devotional service, we're relieved. The devotees don't have any anxiety. Paradukkha dukhi. First, the reason to go out on Sankirtan and accept that austerity is seeing the condition of the conditioned souls, compassion. They need help. My problems are solved, let me help them. Here's some other reasons. Well, let's say it this way. Tapasya is good for us. If you want to sharpen a knife, what do? What do you have? Here's a stone. And you rub it on that stone, it becomes sharp. If we do not practice austerity, what did Krishna, the whole point of Bhagavad Gita What was the conclusion of Bhagavad Gita? We were talking yesterday. Why doesn't if everyone's uttamadhikari, everyone's just going to flow along, and sooner or later they're going to become a devotee, so I'll just let their natural fate take care of them. Why, if that's the case, that everything's set up perfectly, everything's running perfectly, why did Krishna, what did Krishna want Arjuna to do? He didn't want to fight, he wanted him to fight. Why did Krishna want Arjuna to fight? What was the result of that fight? Not him internally, but as far as the world in general. What would happen? Other than Dravida. Amoga, what would happen? Huh? And why did he, yes, you're right, thank you very much. It was all to put Yudhishthira Maharaj on the throne. Why did he want Yudhishthira Maharaj on the throne? Because there would be, and why did he want Dharma? What is the job of a king? Why do they want Dharma? So the point is that Krishna intervenes. That's my point. Krishna has a want. He wants to deliver the conditioned souls. He has a desire, and he has a need. He has an interest, and he intervenes. What is the vehicle, generally speaking, how he intervenes? Why did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu come? Is it an internal reason and external reason? What was the external reason for Mahaprabhu appearing? Krishna came as Mahaprabhu to give the Yuga Dharma. What was that Yuga Dharma? To deliver the conditioned souls by Yuga Dharma. So Krishna wants it. Just like Arjuna, the conclusion of the Gita. Here's what I want, here's what Krishna wants. I'm going to do what Krishna wants. And that's where bhakti flows. I don't want to go out. I don't have time, I'm too busy, I'm going to be rejected, it's going to be uncomfortable. But Prabhupada said the whole point of Bhagavad Gita was to turn Arjuna from a no man to a yes man. And what happens if we do that? I'll just end with these. Our consciousness becomes clear, becomes sharp. Our mind, if you perform tapasya, by performing tapasya, one of the benefits is the mind becomes controlled, and the mind is what causes us so much problems. So if we can, what is the saying? Wherever you go, there you are. Wherever we go, we take our mind. So I saw that in Hawaii, there's all kinds of people on the plane when we were flying from San Diego, going from San Diego to Hawaii for vacation. Funny enough, the plane turns around after we land, and it takes a bunch of people from Hawaii who go into San Diego for a vacation. So, I mean, Hawaiian Airlines, they got a good business because they're not happy in Hawaii. They want to go to the mainland, and everybody on the mainland wants to go to Hawaii. They got constant customers because nobody's happy in either place. If we go out, we're going to put together, we're meeting this afternoon, we're going to put together a plan for the marathon. It's what Krishna wants. Krishna intervenes. It's the main purpose of this world, is to deliver the conditioned souls from this hellish condition. And when we become from a no man to a yes man, Birachandra Prabhu is not fluent in English. He went out speaking Russian and sets up a book table. Dvijamani's at the zoo, meets an Indian family. They buy a set of Srimad Bhagavatams. I want to hear the story about that. There are people that the devotees meet. Govardhan, anybody who go, Chad, and who'd you go? You went with Nelson. Where'd you go?
We went to
La Jolla Cove, the heart of, wealthy, these upper high-end suburbs. And here's, he's a new devotee. And Nelson, they're out there with a book table. One devotee, one book distributed, I've mentioned it before, I'm going to mention it again. What's the time? Oh, geez. In a group of Burmese doctors on vacation in New York, actually for a medical convention, met a devotee on the Avenue of Americas. Devotees showed him a book. Nah, we're Buddhists. We're not interested in any other, Oh, look at this. Showed him the Das Avatar picture of Buddha. Devotees are intelligent. They said, no, this is the essence of Buddha. This was Buddha's teaching. This is where it comes from, which is true. All right, then, they bought the book. They got home to the hotel. They look at, no, this is Hindu. They don't like the Hindus. They've been trained up that way. If you go in a dhoti, they won't let you in the country. Yeah. It's a whole story. So, but what to do? Well, we paid for it. Oh, we've got a friend, a Hindu friend who's a doctor. We'll give it to him. Came back to Burma, gave it to their friend. The friend was a staunch follower of Sankaracharya, an impersonalist. I don't want this book. Just put it up on his shelf. You know, you've been to a doctor's office, you know, they've always got stacks of papers and studies and this and they put it on there. His son, who wanted to get out of Burma, the country's a disaster. He wanted to get out of Burma, wanted to learn English, saw a book in English, nice thick book. His only purpose in reading it, he got an English to Burmese language. The only point was to translate it. He wanted an English book, and he just went through it word by word, translating from, you know, he knew little English, but he worked his way through it. Looking at the Burmese, translating English, figuring out what it meant. It was an exercise. He could have had a, Joy of Cooking book, would have done this, in his mind. But what happened is by the time he was at the 6th chapter, Jnana Yoga, he was a devotee. Told his father he wants to become. His father was so angry, threw him out of the house. They were given a choice. They're both stubborn. His father now, by the way, is an initiated devotee, if you didn't figure where this train is going. So he said, Father, he was preaching to his father about impersonalism and how it's futile and how it's just, partial, Brahmaniti, Paramaniti, Bhagavaniti, Shabhyate. The father was so enraged, this is just for sentimentalists, people who are afraid of death, and They would fight so often. The son said, if you don't become a Vaishnava, I'm leaving this house. The father said, if you stay a Vaishnava, I'm throwing you out. And the young man moved into an abandoned Jagannath temple. The deities were still there. The temple had been basically abandoned. He would sit there with an umbrella over the deities when it rained and chant his japa. Seeing a light in the temple at night, some of the old ladies living in the neighborhood came and met him, said, this monk is living. They started bringing in a little bit of rice. They brought a little, sent some of their kids over to learn. He started Gita class for kids. And they renovated the whole temple. I mean, it just goes on and on and on. That devotee, in that Gita was a card. And, we used to put them in cards that get a free book. Read this, get a free book. He filled it out. He said, the mail system's so funky in Burma, it'll never get out of here. If it gets to America, they're going to look at this and for Burma, what? They're going to pitch it. If they send the book, it's going to get stolen in the mail. Because everything gets stolen in the mail in Burma. So, but hey, why not? It's free. He filled out, he sent it off. Simultaneously, what was your Guru Maharaj's brahmachari name? Yeah. So, Bhakti Vikas Maharaj, as a brahmachari at the time, was preaching in the southeast. He was mostly in India, but he was, Roman. He wanted to spread out. He thought, let me go to Vietnam. Met some people, thought, I'll just take a month, spend it in Vietnam, see what happens. He was in L.A. He asked the North American BBT, our BBT office, North American BBT is there, asked Sura, hey, you got any cards from Vietnam? He said, no, we don't have any Vietnam contacts in those days. He said, but we've got this card I just got from Burma. You could not get into Burma unless you had if you went as a tourist, it was like going to Russia in those days. You were on a government tour, on a government bus, with the government agents watching and you could not walk out of your hotel and talk to people. They'd throw you in just like North Korea. They got you on a path, and you got to see and then off you go. But if you were a business, if you had an invitation as a business, then you could get a 24-hour business visa. 24 hours. He got a 24-hour because they had an address now. They had a name. He could figure out. Srivas Pandit, the boy who got the book from his father, walked into his house one day at lunchtime. His grandmother was sitting in the kitchen, rolling chapatis and cooking lunch for a Vaishnava, Bhakti Vikash Maharaj. In 24 hours, Bhakti Vikash Maharaj taught him how to chant japa, taught him, how to offer prasad, crammed as much as he could in 24 hours. Srivas Pandit eventually is the one who renovated that temple, made devotees, started the Gita class, and the whole mission took off. It's a whole story. My point is, one devotee who had the courage to go out, accept the austerity of being rejected and being uncomfortable for a few hours, big deal. People they sell, I saw it the other day, in an airport gift shop, sometimes they sell underwear. I was thinking, that's an odd thing to sell in it. Well, I guess one. He said it happens because sometimes people, they're businessmen, they get a business, they're in the airport, they're heading home with all their dirty clothes in the laundry. And they get an opportunity. Hey, they're selling ice in Alaska. And the guy will buy a change of clothing, underpants and a t-shirt or whatever, a tie, and forget going home, go to make the money. They perform so many offs. There was a devotee here who thought somehow or other, we used to get government surplus. The government truck would pull up, and we used to get powdered milk, used to get butter and cans of peanut butter, different things. Somehow or other, that big truck showed up. It was only him. So he had to, because he was sincere, he had to unload the truck, and he complained about it. I didn't join this movement to load and unload trucks. So finally he blooped. We used to say blooped. He took off. You know the only job he could get? Working at a Home Depot, loading and unloading bags of cement. He finally said, hey, enough of this. I'm going to go do it for Krishna, So my point is that austerity is there in this world. It's an austerity. So why not accept that austerity? Go out on Sankirtan, at least during the Christmas marathon. It'll sharpen your intelligence, and you will please Krishna. You're doing what Krishna wants, the whole point. And you may be that person. You don't have to be big. You don't have to, what is it, many hands make light work? Everybody goes out and distributes one book. You may be that one book. The point I wanted to make is you may be out there battling your mind, and all you could do is manage to give one book. Well, that one book may be the one that goes to a country and opens it up. There's Bhakti Vaibhav Maharaj, who opened up Mongolia. Well, yeah, we have a temple there. We have devotees. We have like 300 initiated devotees in Mongolia. Bhakti Vaibhav Maharaj was traveling in Germany. Didn't know about devotees. He was from Germany. In Germany, evidently, in the national preserves, the Black Forest, whatever it is, they have all kinds of hiking trails. And the government, to their credit, because sometimes people get caught in the snow. The weather changes and they're caught in the snow and people starve or freeze or whatever it is. So they have little huts. I forget the name of them, but they have a little house, like a little cabin, just a cabin. It's got a bathroom, it's got a shower, and they keep them stocked. Basic dry goods, pasta, I don't know, whatever's there, So if you get stuck in a storm in the forest, you go to one of those little government huts, and you can weather out the storm. He's walking, has to answer the call of nature. It's a true story. He told me personally. And he was thinking, why all this cat and mouse, try to find out the truth, you've got to search for it. If there's God, I want to know. If there's God, I want to surrender. Why do I have to search lifetime after lifetime? Why isn't there a book that tells me what to do, how to surrender, what are the laws of God, how to develop love of God? Just give me a book. Give me an owner's manual. Give me a mechanic's guide. And why don't you just hit me over the head with it? Why do I have to, climb up the backside of Mount Everest and hopefully I find a guru? Why? So he was thinking these things. had to answer the call of nature. Frankly, was sitting on the pot. It had an overhead tank made out of wood, gravity feed water toilet. You pull the chain in, that's how they used to be. So he pulls the chain so the water can flush it. And the whole wood box had rotted out. It falls, bam, he gets hit in the head with a Bhagavad Gita. Somebody had been reading the Gita, doing their business, put it on top of the wood tank for the water tank. Why isn't there a book? And why doesn't it just hit me over the head? Bam, Bhagavad Gita bounces off his head. It's a true story. He became a devotee, did powerful service all over Germany, all over Europe, and eventually he opened up Mongolia. So the once a year to accept the austerity of a little inconvenience and a little rub on the false ego. And you may be the person that distributes that. The book's going to go, one last one, Chatur Vyuha Prabhu. Used to be Bhakti Chak. Sorry, I'll be done. Yeah, Bhakti Chak. Bhakti Chak's sister lived in Michigan. Met a devotee in a parking lot. The devotee said, presented what they're doing. She said, oh, you're a monk. Here, put her grocery bags down. Gave her $10. Take a book. She said, no, I don't want a book. I like the work you're doing. Devotee said, well, she wouldn't take it. So he just slipped a coming back into her grocery bag. Just dropped it in. Oh, please take it. And she said, whatever. She goes home. She's got so many things on her mind. Puts all the groceries away. Saves the paper bag, like many people do. Folds it up. Forgets that the book's on the bottom. The book is in the bottom of the bag. Folds it up. Sticks in. 3 years later, she's moving out to Los Angeles. Loading everything up. Taking it out, Takes out a paper bag. She's throwing some kitchen utensils in there. Doesn't see the book in the bottom of the bag. Loads it up. Puts it in the U-Haul van. Drives out with her husband out to Los Angeles. Her brother, younger brother, nice guy, helps her unload. Helping her unloads his paper bag. Sees a book in it. Says, hey, what's this book on yoga? It looks interesting. She said, what? I can't. Oh, I got that years ago. Take it. He read it and became a devotee. One book in a snow-filled parking lot in Michigan. 3 years later, ping-ponging around like it's in, whatever it is, like a pinball machine, winds up in L.A. in the hands of Bhakti Chak, who becomes Chatur Vyuha. One book. So one book opened up Mongolia. One book opened up Myanmar, Burma. And one book, how many devotees? We're going to end here, I promise. But you talk to devotees, they got a book. So many devotees got a book. Sometimes they sit on the shelf. I know devotees who got Bhagavad Gita, saw the Sanskrit, and held the book sideways, upside down. Well, what's this all about? Puts it on a shelf. Years later, when they're ready, have gone through enough experiences in life, take the Bhagavad Gita off and they can read it clear as a bell. So this is one time in a year that we do that. We're going to figure out a schedule, and we just think it's an opportunity to please Krishna, to calm the mind, to purify the heart, and do good in the world. And it's so much fun. So we'll end there. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Stay tuned. We'll get back to you.